Hi, Robin here with Ollie, and we're going to be doing a live. So it doesn't matter that others might not be on with us. It is around sort of dinner time in New South Wales, so it's okay if no one comes on. They can watch it later if they so wish. But we decided to do a live today because of just what has happened with Ollie and even myself over the last number of days. You can see him here, and he's not his usual happy, smiley self. But he agreed to come on and help me because we're both not very comfortable being in front of a camera. So, but that's okay. So over the weekend, I went down to Sydney to the Dog Lovers show, and right on cue, here's my girl, the one that loves the spotlight. So she's just going to sniff him. Come here. And she doesn't mind the camera. So just sit down, Kora, because it's not about you. Come here. Sit down. Good girl. So, yeah, I went down to Sydney for the Dog Lovers show, and of course left these two at home with the rest of the family, and didn't think much of it until I actually came down with a headache within the apartment that we were staying in, which was nearby to the Sydney Olympic Park. And it wasn't helped by an extremely hard bed, and but other things were sort of playing out as well. Obviously, being around crowds, not my usual thing, but nonetheless, I obviously was involved with some things energetically going on down there. Anyway, got back home and noticed that Mr. Ollie here was limping again on his left hind leg, and his history is that, you know, he's had numerous knee surgeries in the 3 years that I've owned him. Yes, it always has to be about Kora, doesn't it? Come on, move your legs. And so yeah, he was sort of showing that he was quite uncomfortable in his walking again. So since doing and becoming involved in the ERT, or what I call emotional release therapy, shortened to ERT, I've seen incredible changes both with me and the pain that I've had in my body, and how once identified with energy blockage within the body, that these identified emotions or trapped emotions, once they're released, how freeing they can be to the body, and it certainly changes the way you are within your own body. It is no different with animals, and animals also have a I've got treats there, she's sniffing them out. Come here. And so with Ollie, even compared to the releases that I've done with Kora, Kora has had nowhere near the amount of emotional blockages as well as the imbalances within her body as what Ollie has. This can be for a number of reasons, but for whatever reason, it has affected him and his life. There are certain things that he tends to go back with his own, his own memories. And this was no different when it seemed that he thought that me not being around, that he brought up some deep issues for him. So it was yesterday that I had done a distant ERT on him while I went into town, and did his session, and some things that had come up which resulted in, and I'm just going to bring up some notes here, which I do all notes when I'm doing any ERT session, whether it be for humans or animals. And so what came up, I'm just going to scroll all the way down his list because it is quite a lengthy list. I actually started his ERT sessions began on the 16th of the 3rd this year, so 16th of March, and we've been going ever since. Whenever something sort of props up and I'm sort of led to doing an ERT session on him. But the session that I did for him last night, Tuesday night, found for him to have a misalignment, and the misalignment was with his cervical disc, the C4 and 5 cervical disc, which was contributed to or caused from the left hind leg tibia, which is the main, it's the same equivalent into our lower leg thicker bone, and this bone was misaligned, which was then causing him to walk quite awkwardly. Whenever I watched him, it was like he sort of rocked right through his shoulders and just found it incredibly hard to walk evenly, probably because of this imbalance, this misalignment with the cervical disc. Through this misalignment of his left tibia, they found to be it was post-traumatic energetical misalignment caused by physical trauma. So through the physical trauma, then I identified that it was with a physical trauma that he had trapped emotions. And one was fear. One was also contributed from an emotion that he had picked up from his mother while his mother carried him in her womb. And then thirdly, it was anxiety, his own anxiety, like his own fear, to then what I was then led to do was then release in order of those identified trapped emotions, and they were released 100%. This then balanced that misalignment of that left tibia. Then I went back to the misalignment with the C4 and 5 disc, and there was energies relating to a mental kind of imbalance, and two things came up with this, and that was two negative core beliefs. So kind of like a programming, if we can liken it back to, again, humans, it's like when you grow up as a child, you are around a lot of programming beliefs, whether it be things like, within your family religion, or things relating to school, or just, the normal things that relate to life. And through those kinds of avenues, we then set up an idea of what life should be or ought to be. And it's no different to our pets, as I found. And he actually had two negative beliefs, which was actually around the age of 2, give or take, a number of months either side of the age of 2. Now, with Ollie's background, he was surrendered by a family in Victoria before he turned 2. And the rescue had taken him in, and there was a lot of emotions around that time of, just of that uncertainty of, his home. He didn't know where his home was. And so he then went into rescue care down in Victoria, and then certain things then led him to be transported up to New South Wales to the other part of the rescue group. And it was then first thought that he was going to be their mascot. But then that decision through that rescue group then changed, and they just couldn't dedicate the time to him that he needed to be their mascot, and so he was put up for adoption. And so again, there was just so much uncertainty around, where his home was now, and for such a young dog, that's a very scary thing. And so this had brought up these two sort of negative belief systems within him. And this then showed, because I wasn't here over the weekend, for whatever reason, that brought things up for him. And so I then looked at that, and with the intention of changing that negative belief through the connection to his subconscious mind, because we're all connected to one another, each and every one of us. And so I balanced that out and checked that both of those had been balanced to then help to reprogram the way that, the energy of the way that he thinks. And that was done and shown. So that was quite sort of heartbreaking to me, even to sort of, see those things and those identified things of just what he was dealing with. And quite interestingly enough, down at the Dog Lovers show, I was watching a vet on stage, and she was talking about the normal things that, occur with dogs, old age, the things that happen when you take your animal to the vets, particularly dogs, because it was the Dog Lovers show. And, a big proportion of behavioural issues are sort of more centred around anxiety. Now, but what we fail to realise is that depression, it can occur even in our animals. And Ollie was no exception to this. He experienced this, and I could actually even not only just feel it within his energy, but also it showed sort of just what was identified with his ERT session. And, and his face, through his eyes, that there was just so much sadness through his eyes. So much so that on Monday, Kora was walking past him. And needless to say, she's very cluey on things and changes within the environment with energy. And she had picked up that he was vibrating, his energy was low. And she went him, but not in the way that it was an attack. It was more like, it was pretty much this. They were just having words with one another. Yes, I know. Thank you. And to me, it seemed like I let them have their little sort of, yelling at each other. And it made Ollie stood up for himself. But it was like, once they sorted it out and then Kora walked off, it was as though she was telling him to not kind of snap out of it, but come on, you've got to change. It's okay. Like, it's going to be all right, but you need to do it and change and know that it's going to be okay, and that you're not a victim of all your experiences that you had before. And this is the beauty of ERT, is that it can be a daunting thing, particularly for us humans that overthink things. And we tend to think that because we're dealing with emotions, that we'll have to relive all those traumatic experiences that we consciously know that we've had in our life. But it's only an aspect of energy, because emotions are energy. And emotions that you can't move through freely and move on from do become trapped within the body and can actually distort the physical body itself. And it is no exception, because when those emotions do become trapped within the body, they can, of course, if they're left there long enough, cause pain. And so with pain, what do? You tend to move away from it, or you put your body into a certain position that you don't want to deal with. But pain's there as a communication to say that something's not right, and we need to look at that. Now, when it comes to our animals, though, and particularly our companion animals, you're a good boy. It's because they live in close proximity to us, and when you consider wild animals, or animals in the wild, in their natural habitat, they don't experience the same level of... Hello, Amber. Thank you for joining. They don't experience the same level of emotional states, because they are their true expression. They are not living close to us. And so they don't experience the same level of illness or disease, because we get so caught up in, our everyday life, and we hold on to stuff, and our emotions are just, we're electrically charged all the time. And, our companion animals absorb this, and not just through their kind of absorption with emotions, but it's because they are very sensitive in the way that they pick up on our energetical imbalances. And so here they are trying to help us see that we are energetical beings. We are more than our physical body. We are multi-dimensional in all aspects. As to they are just another spirit or soul experiencing life through a different physical vessel. And needless to say, he has the most gorgeous physical vessel. Okay, see you later, Amber. So they are no different to us. They are still experiencing what it is like to have a life in a physical existence. And they are telling us, and they show us, and they explain to us, and they communicate to us in so many ways. And certainly not in the way that, we as humans think. And a lot of us think that it's through, the spoken word. It's not. You can actually communicate to them. It's just allowing yourself to accept and be open to that it's a different thing with communication with them. And it's not through, if I can say that, spoken word. It is more telepathic. It is using our mind energy, and there's no denying that they will actually communicate with us. You've just got to trust yourself and know that you are connected to them, and they will, and you can listen to them, you can hear them. That's what they want from us, and that's what they're doing to help us, but we also need to help them. So this is why our lives were actually destined to be together, because he's taught me so much, and so has Kora, and Cora's taught me in other ways, but Ollie has just got such a gentle soul, a beautiful, soft, very placid, happy-go-lucky energy about him. But he has been through some tough times. And, he is young. He only turned 5 this year. And but we're getting there, and we're releasing stuff and just getting down to the issues. But he also needs to know, and I have these deep and meaningfuls with him, that he needs to understand too that he is responsible for his own healing. And he certainly has been resting a lot today, particularly after his ERT session last night. And that's a normal response. It's a good response, because while the body can sleep or rest, it can heal. And that's a normal process. Some things, when I can contribute it to my own ERT sessions, some painful things can be relieved straight away. Like the instant they're released, the pain goes instantly. While other things can take time, because we are dealing with the physical body. So it's the denseness, and density takes time in change. And it's through the energy that you can't destroy or you can't create energy, but the energy shifts, it recalibrates. And so when we're releasing denser energies from the physical body, it can sometimes take, for whatever reason, it can take maybe a few days instead of instantly after it's been released. So in the case that I did his ERT last night, I also helped by massaging around that cervical spine or his neck, and felt some really tense muscles there. And it was uncomfortable for him, but he still allowed me to massage that area. And then I had used the photonic red light, which is at the red light spectrum, that it helps in healing. It helps to reduce swelling, and bring in fresh blood to the area, and certainly just helps to improve the circulation, which will then reduce pain, and also this, because of the swelling reduction, will then reduce the pain. He tends to sort of move away from the red light, so he can certainly feel it. It's not like a laser, but the red light, if you're sensitive to it, you can actually feel a kind of warmth. It's not like not like those red ray lamps. It's certainly not like that. But if you are sensitive to energy, then you will feel it. And I'm sure that he felt it, and that's why he sort of tended to move away from it. I also used it on that left lower leg of his, and that it showed from the morning. He was quite tired after that, and as you know, if you're in a lot of pain, it's exhausting, it's very tiring, it's taxing, and you just can't be bothered. And so I allowed him to then just rest, and so we went to sleep, and then I offered them and asked them first if they wanted some distant healing while they slept, and of course both of them said yes. So I just allowed it to be there for them, and they could just, move away or turn it off whenever they felt they'd had enough. Then in the morning, I woke up and walked down the hallway, and here he is with a big smile on his face. And he walked up to me with his tail held high, with a little bit of a spring in his step. Still a little bit of discomfort there, but certainly a change from prior to the ERT session the night before. He seemed a little bit more happier. I did actually give him a wash today because I sort of OD'd a bit on the magnesium spray that I bought from the Dog Lovers show. And if you've used magnesium spray before, it does have a tendency to feel a bit uncomfortable. So I thought I better wash it off him. So I did. I washed it off him and then used the magnesium shampoo specific to animals. So his coat's come up nice and soft as usual, and he didn't mind too much that he was having a bath, did you, Ollie? So he is getting there. We've still got an appointment with the vet tomorrow afternoon, and just like me, and I feel, because I'm not one for taking pain meds, and I try to avoid them where I can, but sometimes if you're going through stuff and you're not quite sort of there in understanding why you've got the illness, then you just need something to just take the edge off so that you can just move through it, and then be relaxed enough that you can actually learn why the pain's there in the first place. And so and because I had this headache over the weekend, it was a pretty severe one. Oh, and Kora's brought in my slipper. Come here. You're not meant to... Yes, this is my slipper, and she loves soft, fluffy things. It's not a toy, Kora. That's Mummy's slipper. So we'll just stick it up there. I'd hate to think what she's done with the other one. Anyway, so I know that sometimes you just need to have, some over-the-counter medication just to get you through it. And I did. That's what happened. Even though some of that medication that I took, I just still had to go through the process. I did an ERT on myself, released a few things, and then Monday, I woke up and it was cleared. So it still just took me, a little while to sort of move on from, don't stand on that, to move on from what I was hanging on to. So this is just what can happen. So this is why I'm still going to take, see what I mean? Look, he's up there, Kora. This is why I'm still going to take him to the vet, because the last time that he went to the vet, I saw a vet, not my usual vet, and the medication that she prescribed, some the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and they just didn't really do anything for him while he was in that pain. And so I just hopefully still get everything checked out and just have something there so that he can get through what he needs to get through, so that he can move through it and it's a little bit more comfortable for him. So so that's the story thus far. And and dogs are just incredible. Just like, the thing is too, you don't have to be a dog lover. You don't have to be a cat lover. You just have to have an openness to the animals that are around us can help us in our own journeys in life, our own struggles, and to show us that we can move through those hard times, and by just for them to express just who they are, that's when the messages can come through. And that's the beauty of it, is to actually just be an observer of, what's around you in your environment. Just know what's living outside, whether it's birds, whether it's, reptiles, whatever it is. You may not sort of have a companion animal with you, but just become an observer, and they are incredible teachers, just as we are teachers for them, because they are living with us, because they're also learning about us as humans, and that's what they've come back to experience, is to experience a life with us, just as we're experiencing life with them. And it's a beautiful connection when you're open to see more of the beauty of us living with them and them living with us. So I don't know how long I've gone for, but I'll probably just wrap it up now. And there's going to be more times where I'm going to be talking more about, ERT, things that are happening with the energies at the moment, particularly with the planet. And I mean, this year has been no exception. It's kind of like July for me was what it felt like was time was moving so fast, but at the same time it felt like I was at a standstill with things that I wanted to occur but just wasn't occurring, or I felt as though I had these ideas of things that I wanted to create in my life, but just I didn't know how it was all going to happen. It was a really weird kind of feeling. And yet this, and I didn't really have any kind of, I was just sort of going through the motions, it seemed. Yet this month it seems like it's really heavy. There's a lot of change, a lot of shift occurring, and we're all feeling it. I'm sure everyone else out there and people that I know are feeling it. There's a kind of uncertainty. There's things that are being brought up which have been hidden for too long now, and it's become more visible, and we're all being affected by all the changes that are occurring in the world at the moment. But it will change. It has to, and it has to change in order for better things to come. And there are better things that are coming, but we've just got to hang on to our hats, and and just love yourself, love the people that are in your life, and be gentle with yourself. And it will be okay. We're all safe. Yes, Miss Have a Chat. Come over here. Are you going to say goodbye? Because we're going to wrap it up now. I don't know how long we've been going. But thank you, Ollie, because Ollie doesn't normally like being in front of the camera. Same with me. Whereas Kora does. She doesn't mind it at all. She'll have her face right in the phone. But us two, no, we prefer not to. But we came on here tonight because we're braving it, and we know that we've got a message to share. And that's the important thing. So we put that aside. Come on. Okay, move back. Good girl. Yeah, they were just having a little sniff with one another. So I will say good night, and there will be some more videos coming up as I feel the need to share some information. If you want more information on emotional release therapy or ERT sessions, please message me. I'm sure I can. Yes, I know. I can answer all your questions about it because I've experienced it and I know what it's like. And that's the beauty of it. Like, why wouldn't I do it for myself? and just do it for my clients, my human clients, or only for my dogs and not myself. It's an amazing therapy. It's something that is specific, and it identifies exactly what the cause is. It doesn't fluff around just the symptoms, and it's not something to shy away from and not be sort of open to. But you've got to try it. You've got to be open to it, and it's not scary. So I'll just leave you with that thought, and if you feel the need to reach out, by all means, please do so. I'm here to help. All right, thank you for anybody that has watched. I will be putting it up as a recording live, and I will see you in another version of The Next Moment. Bye for now.